Okay, let's get started. Selflessness and emptiness. What we're going to go over here will be a little bit of a progression from the last lesson. If you found these lessons helpful, I think it's good to spend a little time going over the concepts of selflessness and emptiness. I wanted to provide a framework in how you should find experience changes as you progress, so you can better understand where you are now and where you could expect to be. I don't want to just say experience gets better. That's not helpful, although it's true. I want to provide tangible ways to confirm that you're on the right track. So let's put away our phones, put in our earbuds, and either go for a walk or sit on the couch. And let's look out at something in nature. Selflessness and emptiness. These terms describe the character of the non-dual flow state. I remember, before I recognized non-dual flow state, that I was as confused as any of you might be right now of what changes were there to be noticed. It's actually hilarious that I had a brief thought of, would my legs and arms vanish if I achieved the recognition of emptiness and selflessness? That's embarrassing. Anyways, that's not going to happen. There is clearly a possibility that some people miss the point. They diverge with unrecognized thoughts and create a narrative that tells them that they are not here, they are empty, etc. Now that's clearly wrong and not what non-dual experience is, but it does seem obvious that getting lost in that narrative would create a negative experience. That's not the goal. As many of you know, these words are commonly discussed by meditation teachers, and clearly they can be confusing terms. So let's do a descriptive lesson that closely correlates with my own experience. So hopefully it can provide a logical framework for you as a contemporary audience. Again, when I initially heard these terms, to be honest, they left a lot to be desired. Empty? Really? No self? That's a pretty weird goal. Who would want to feel empty? The reason most people spend years practicing is a desire to feel full of life, to enjoy each moment, to be present. First of all, let me throw out some general information. Number one, you're actually closer to the experience of emptiness and selflessness right now than you realize. Number two, short of a head trauma, lobotomy, or stroke, you're not going to lose the identification with thoughts that will recreate the sense of self as the subject in the conscious experience. Trust me, it's going to come back again and again. What will happen with progress, though, is that when identification with thought happens, you will become more and more cognizant of it occurring. For me, there's an associated recognition of contraction, with my personal experience being tightness in my chest. That's my alarm. I literally find the contraction now so unpleasant that I nearly immediately use the tools that work for me to release that burden and then re-recognize the non-dual flow state. Number three, if you're anything like me, you'll find complete stabilization of the non-dual awareness actually undesirable if you want to participate in Western society. However, number four, you will want to cultivate the non-dual awareness flow state so as to enjoy the majority of life's moments more completely, the moments not best served with the desired narrative. There is a reason that experiencing non-dual awareness is nearly impossible for most of us, even though it's possible right now to recognize. It's because of our strong identification with our very impactful internal narrative. The continual generation of compelling thoughts creates the illusion of a central self, a witness to experience. Let's take a moment to look outside and focus on an object. Where would you expect to find the subject that is commandeering experience right now? I know we've spent some exercises focusing our search area. I just wanted to make it salient for a moment. Notice that even though you are looking at the object, your sense of location might be associated with the legs you see in your peripheral vision. the hands you see in the bottom of your visual field. Your sense of location is over here, closer to the legs and hands you see, right? Now, keep the instruction of the approximate location of the central subject in mind as I continue. I won't get deep into this now, but to be clear, my current belief is that this internal narrative has an evolutionary advantage, and it's an overall positive in our lives. However, an inability to recognize the narrative as just that, a narrative, is the problem. Don't hate the narrative. It's just information. It's the unhealthy relationship with the narrative that's the problem for most of us. I could explore that claim further at another time, but that's where I've landed on it as of now. Let's begin to tease out what these terms refer to, and I want you to just store away this information for future exercises, because in a future moment, you might get a brief recognition of what I'm talking about, which is actually all you need to start building on. If you've listened to the Waking Up app, you've heard Sam and other teachers discuss analogies. We've heard descriptions about experience being like waves on an ocean. We've heard that experience is actually not that of being a person watching the river go by, but of actually being the river itself. I understand what these descriptions are meant to convey, but I found them, and even still find them, a little hard to conceptualize. These analogies don't necessarily lend themselves as a roadmap to progress. So let me throw out a map of the conscious landscape through a different analogy. Let's picture a Christmas snow globe in our mind. You know, the ones with the Christmas scene with snowflakes that swirl when you shake it. The non-dual flow state can be conceptualized through this fairly simple Christmas decoration. So let me spend a few minutes unpacking what I mean. Clearly, when we move through each moment of the day, the scene is changing. So let's modernize the snow globe analogy to an ever-changing landscape scene. Following me? Let's continue the analogy by describing what most people would take as the intuitive starting point. Look around, and let's use the snow globe analogy to represent experience to you right now. You don't even have to focus on anything. Let your attention bounce from one object to another naturally in your visual field. In this analogy, let's make the snowflakes represent everything that can be recognized in this moment. There are thousands of objects in the visual field that attention can land on right now. Just notice them. Anything and everything that is noticeable when you look at the visual scene, let's correlate as a snowflake. If you're walking outside, the visual scene is constantly changing, and there are new objects or snowflakes appearing and disappearing as possibilities for attention to land. Even sounds, tastes, sensations, etc., all objects or snowflakes in this constantly changing snow globe of possibilities. Do you get it? Do you understand the basic gist of this analogy so far? If you're tracking with me, let's clarify what is probably your intuitive stance right now concerning you. Prior to recognizing non-dual flow state, you might say that you are over here, maybe sitting on the couch, and that object, whatever you're looking at, is over there, right? That's intuitive. The initial intuition would be similar to being somewhat of a central figuring character in the snow globe scene, right? Someone that is recognized as the central character with snowflakes swirling around in an ever-changing snow globe scene. If you follow that intuition, then I would guess that you would associate thoughts as being in the head of the figuring character, you, in the snow globe, right? The objects you see in your visual scene are all around the central figurine, but thoughts might actually be considered separate from the snowflakes, as they would be inside the central subject. Are you tracking? Now, a sound that you hear to the right of you would be analogous to a snowflake to the right of the central character. A sensation in your knee would be more intimately associated with the figurine, less so a snowflake, and more so a part of the figurine. Okay, if you're following me, I'm going to start describing how your relationship with experience changes as you progress, when you cut through this very real illusion of being the central subject. Once you confirm that the central self actually isn't there, allowing you to recognize the non-dual relationship of experience, you'll actually find that the non-dual experience is that of being the entire snow globe. You're not a central figurine surrounded by a landscape. Thoughts are not internal to any figurine. They are as much a snowflake as the bird you see, or the mountain in the distance, or the sound you hear. It's recognized that experience relaxes any waiting to hear behind your eyes. Now, the wetware of your brain doesn't stop working. If a ball is coming towards your face, you're still going to duck. Instead, attention is recognized as bouncing around the ever-changing scene from moment to moment. There's an entire landscape of possibilities, and attention is actually what's preferencing the object in the moment. You will never be more identified in your life with anything than what attention is associated with right now. In this moment, the whole room around you that you see, the sounds that you hear, the thoughts that are arising, are all part of the snow globe of your conscious experience. Every single thing that is available to be recognized right now is included in the snow globe. Wherever your attention lands is a possible snowflake in the snow globe of the conscious experience. Nothing that has the possibility of being recognized in this moment or any moment is outside of the snow globe of experience. That thought that you just had of what is he talking about was a snowflake that attention landed on for that moment. That star 10 light years away, seen in the night sky, is another snowflake for attention to land. The dog you see outside and its subsequent bark are two possible snowflakes. Even the knees that are seen in the bottom of the visual scene right now are snowflakes. Everything is enclosed in the same conscious experience. Inseparable, they are all in the same place, the snow globe of the conscious experience. But obviously, different objects for attention to land. So let's bring this back to the concepts of selflessness and emptiness. In this analogy, has anything changed as information in the moment? Does the snow globe analogy subtract thoughts from experience? Have emotions been deleted? How about sounds, tastes, sensations like pain? Clearly the answer is no. Has anything been added? Has new knowledge about the universe been revealed? I had to throw that in for any religious claims. The clear answer is no. It's all the same information before and after the recognition of emptiness or selflessness, except for one change. Only one, but one with impactful results. Once you find that the thought of a self is actually just that, a thought, it's only a snowflake that attention historically has re-landed on, and you spend more of your time recognizing attention bouncing around the flow of the day, then experience begins to open up in ways you wouldn't find intuitive. When you find there's no actual separation between thoughts and a car in the distance, that they are actually occurring in the same place. They're completely distinct, but they're not separated by skin or a head, etc. Then you're recognizing something important. Are you skeptical? That's fine. I'm going to try to get you there. The first step is confirming that there is no self defined in the center of this experience, and that's going to be our next exercise. But here is your assignment for the week to get you warmed up. I want you to play with the sense of distance from the central subject, you over here, to an object over there in this snow globe landscape of the conscious experience. Try this. If you wear wide frame glasses, or if you have aviator sunglasses, that's great for this exercise. I want you to focus on an object in the center of your visual field and make the observation that it's farther away from this central observer than your knees, your face, etc. And as you look at the object, try to notice two characteristics about the object, like color, size, shape, etc. This is really to get attention focused. For me, it's night outside, and I see a light in the distance, about 100 yards away. That's orange, and it's lantern-shaped. And as your attention is really focused on the object, I want you to then move attention from that object over there to the rims of your glasses over here. I don't want you to focus on the rims of the glasses in the peripheral field of view by moving your eyes, as that will make you dizzy. But just notice the movement of attention from the object over there to the fuzzy rims of the glasses over here. Notice that even though you're still looking at the object, it should be salient that attention has moved, as the object that you're looking at is no longer the dominant focus for just a moment, until attention lands on the object again. Go back and forth a couple times. Notice attention land on the object, and notice attention move to the fuzzy frames in the peripheral field of view and back. See if you can notice that even though you might have the initial posture of the object over there and your head with the frames over here, that when inspected, in fact, attention didn't really move closer to you. Instead, attention had to move from where it is in that moment to a new place. The frames here and there have less meaning. It's relaxed. And there was just movement from an object to a new object in this whole landscape of possibilities.